Did you realize at the time that how special it was? Because for us fans, obviously, the early 90s hold such a special place in so many people's hearts because that's when we discovered wrestling. So 1992 was when I discovered wrestling. And then obviously I went back and discovered the 80s and the early 90s. There's a
Mhm.
lot of guys kind of my age in their early 40s who are kind of we're longing to return to that childlike escapist state, I think, which wrestling offered in abundance. Did you realize at the time, like, wow, this is something pretty incredible that I'm a part of?
Well, obviously I didn't, because if I did, I would have stayed there until they tossed me out the door. I was young and brash and confident and thinking there was a lot more out there that I wanted to do, which I did at the time. But no, I've had conversations with other people too. Same with athletes, professional athletes will say the same thing, that when it's happening and you're in it and you're so focused on what you've got to do. And there are a lot of, there's a downside to it, as we've discussed before, with, that road life and being away from your family and the price that comes with it. And I think that, I, like a lot of people, didn't realize at the time what it was. And it's obvious when you see what it's become, because it's not like I didn't realize that it was a big deal back then, that the WWF was, this world, event going on, and people were taking notice, and it was becoming mainstream and all of that. But like I said, when you're in it and you're self-focused in a lot of ways to trying to succeed, that a lot of it just gets pushed aside to just I have to keep doing this, and I still have to stay on top, and I've got to get it done, instead of sitting back a little and going, wow, look at this. And I know that there were events where I did do that. I have talked about it before, SummerSlam '92 at Wembley, and when that match was over with Brett and Davey Boy, just really taking it in. I remember sitting going, sit back, Mooney, just look at this. This is why people love this so much.
Mm.
So I did take moments, but overall, I didn't realize what it was, and it took me years, Ben, to understand it, because people would send me letters, and I'm like, why do they want to hear from me? I was just an announcer. I wasn't one of the superstars in the ring. And then, after much contemplation about it, and getting these heartfelt letters from people, I realized it isn't so much about, me. It's because it was what I was a part of, that I was, kind of this messenger of this great content, this great product that they were putting out there, these great stories, and I helped tell the story. And when they look back as adults and they go, that was such a special time. We look back at our childhood, and when it was simple, and what brought you joy, and people, that's the way people look at it. They see Hulkamania, they see the Hulkster, he takes them back. They see the Warrior, they see Macho Man, all these, and it just takes them back to a time when that's all they ever thought about. They weren't worried about paying the rent. They weren't worried about a wife that wasn't happy. They weren't worried about children and keeping them out of trouble. It was just that I just got to be a part of this, and it just took me away.